The streak is finally over. Collingwood's impressive 52-point win over Brisbane has halted their halftime comeback streak. But still, the AFL does have a new comeback king. We all know the 2022 and 2023 Collingwood teams under Craig McRae were all-time great at the fast finish and were the official close game specialists. But Brisbane is doing it in a different way and from further behind. With their second half demolitions, there are two sides to look at it. The first is that this Lions team is never out of it and they are full of belief even when the chips are down. The other side would point out that they are playing with fire and perhaps later down the year their tendency to start slow might cost them as it did on Thursday night. But let's focus on the present and the remarkable streak Brisbane conjured up. So the 8 halftime comebacks by Brisbane hasn't been done since Carlton way back in the 1909 and 1910 seasons. That is the sort of historic record this Brisbane team was on. The other remarkable part of it was the closeness of the 8-game streak. It wasn't just accomplished from say round 1 2023 to round 1 2024, which is a full season, but from round 16 2024 to round 5 of this year. It's an 18-game span in which the 8 halftime comebacks happened. They also did it in 2 huge finals. The semi-final away to GWS saw the Lions come back from a 21-point halftime margin, but that lead actually extended out to 44 points a touch after the middle point of the third. And then in the preliminary final at the MCG against Geelong, Brisbane stormed home down 19 at the half. It's a come from behind streak we've never seen before. So how have Brisbane been able to bounce back and gain momentum so regularly in the past 18 or so matches? The first part is their overall experience and fitness. Brisbane are only behind Collingwood for average age and games played. It's not just this as well, but the amount of games so many of the senior players have played together. Neil, Zorko, McCluggage, Berry, Bailey, Rayner, Andrews and so on have run out in the field together and been a strong team for at least half a decade. Over this time, chemistry is developed and an understanding of each player's tendencies only grows. The Lions' fitness is also underrated. Doing so many pre-seasons together and having a lot of players around that 27 to 30 age mark is why they can run out second halves so well. Tactics and belief is a big part, but this is an ultra fit and strong team that has been playing together for a long time. And after a few big second halves, that belief then builds and builds. That final series last year was the in-game showing of that belief. The only other recent comparable team in comebacks was Collingwood between 2022 and 2023. In just 2 seasons, those Magpie teams came back from 3/4 time deficits 12 times in a row. For context, Collingwood played 51 combined games in those 2 seasons, 6 of which were finals, so it meant roughly 24% of the games, or 1 in every 4, Collingwood came back when they were down at the end of the 3rd term. That 12 in a row part of it is unbelievable. So how do the other sides in the competition fare when they are down at the major break? Well, AFL.com put together a table that detailed every club's win rate when they were down by a significant margin at halftime. In this case, a 24-point margin was used as the deficit. From the 2022 season, there is a clear top 3. Brisbane are the kings. 25 times they have been behind by 4 or more goals, and in 11 games they have been able to come back. That's an unreal rate of 44%, by far the highest in the AFL. Second is no surprise in Collingwood. 31% of the time, they have been able to win from big halftime deficits, doing so in 8 out of 26 games, and third place is Sydney at a 29% rate, coming from behind in 7 out of 24 matches. Most of the other AFL clubs sit around that 9 to 20% win rate. So let's have a look at the opposite end of the come from behind spectrum. It's the Adelaide Crows who sit dead bottom. 30 times they've been down by 4 goals at the half, and not once have they been able to come back. Other surprises might include Hawthorn, who have been down at the half 33 times under Sam Mitchell, yet come back just once, and West Coast and North Melbourne have also come back just 1 and 2 times respectively. The main point of the data really is no surprise. If you have a significant halftime margin, you really should be getting the 4 points at the end of the 4 quarters. The AFL also gathered up data just for this. The win rate of all the clubs since the same period of time, 2022 to now, when the teams are winning by 24 or more points at halftime. The big surprise here is St Kilda, 22 games up by 24 points and 100% win rate, the only one to have a perfect record out of the 18 clubs. Just behind them is Fremantle, who have had a halftime margin in 34 games and been able to bank wins in 33. Again, most of the sides sit between 82 and 93% in terms of that win rate. It's no shock that Richmond and West Coast sit at the bottom alongside Hawthorn, but 18th is eye-catching. It's North Melbourne, and 11 times since 2022 they've been up at halftime. Their win rate is just a lowly 55%, 20% lower than the second worst in West Coast. Surprisingly, the side with the most halftime leads of 24 or more points is Brisbane. They really do seem to be behind by a fair bit or in front by a fair bit. 48 times with a 4-goal lead in roughly 2 seasons is a big number, with Sydney and Collingwood on 47 and Geelong the other member of the top 4 with 46 occasions with halftime leads. For the least amount, it is West Coast with just 8, but they have won 6 of those games. But for now, no team can switch up momentum as quickly or for longer than Brisbane. Like Collingwood's hot run of close games, luck at this point has to be diminished. They just have belief, and with a premiership under their belts, partly due to their ability to come back, they really have no more fear. When you can come down from big margins in finals, there's not much else that makes these Lions' heads drop for the whole 120 minutes. Whether they can replicate this again and again is for us to see much later down the road, but no doubt it can be a mental weapon against the opposition. With a bit of a reality check against Collingwood, maybe the halftime comebacks might be put away for a while as Brisbane try to get their full mojo and have leads over sides instead of trying to race them down.